Were you just on tour?
No. I mean, I'm doing a bunch of spot dates. So I'm doing like, I don't know, like basically for the last, I guess, couple months, I've been gone every 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
I do like 3 or 4 dates.
That's cool.
So I did, I don't know, like Chicago area. I did Colorado area. And then we're doing Seattle area next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're lucky, man. That looks fun. I see your Instagram.
It's cool.
What's your favorite place you've been to recently?
Recently?
Yeah. A lot of things have changed, since everything kind of happened.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, there like when you're on the road like that, like it's not as fun as like it should be, because you're just like you're tired, so you try and sleep as much as you can, and then when you wake up, it's just like sound check, like get to lifetime, you know what I mean, and so you don't really get to like see the city too much. You don't really get to like hang out too much, you know. Like an off day, you're tired, like, and it's very tiring, like being on the road. So I don't know, man. I mean, Denver, the shows in Denver were the funnest.
Oh yeah,
they're like sold out, you know.
Oh no kidding.
So yeah, nice. It was dope. It was a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
So you cool with telling the listeners who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Javier Castillo. I am a father, a partner. I'm a business owner. I'm a DJ. God, I'm a
just run down the list, dude. Just give them it all.
Everything. But that's kind of me in a nutshell. But I like to say that I'm a father and a partner first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm a Hispanic American. You know.
Yeah.
And so
I'm half.
Okay.
I'm a mixed breed.
Yeah. So those are things. Those are my things. But yeah, I some people call me Rip D. I was a DJ for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I met you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Actually, I met you a long time ago before that. Do you remember?
I don't know.
I went to one of my friends. His name was Andrew Weismuller. I went to his like apartment or something back years and years ago, and you had an apartment next to him.
Okay. Yep.
And yeah, we went over there and you were like showing us your music stuff and everything, and I was like, oh dang, this is sweet, dude.
I hadn't even like at that time. That was before like everything really, because that apartment, I had just moved here from New Mexico.
Oh wow!
And when I moved here from New Mexico, I didn't know anybody. Like I didn't know one person here. I knew like the girl that I was seeing, and that was it. I didn't know one person. So I was like going to shows and doing everything by myself. All I knew, like I just knew what I liked to do. Like I was graduated from college, moved here, and I was just going to rap shows, making rap. I didn't know Ableton. I didn't know how to take pictures. I didn't know how to DJ. I might have just had a turntable or turntables at the time.
Yeah, you did.
But, I mean, literally at that place, I think that was like 6 months.
How long ago was that?
About 12 years ago.
Holy cow. So, yeah, we met around 12 years ago. I didn't connect the two until later on, like after.
I think we had talked about it before.
Yeah.
I think you and I had talked about it before.
Yeah, we went to a couple shows. I'm like, hey, that dude. And then I like thought, I'm like, oh, I've met him before.
Yeah.
He was Andrew's friend.
Yeah.
And I was like.
I was drinking back then, too.
Yeah, that's what we came over. We came over and had some beers, and we were all hanging out. That's why I was at Andrew's house. I was
Probably.
over there to drink.
Those are good. He liked to drink.
Yeah.
And I like to drink. So we would hang out and drink.
Yeah. You're not drinking no more?
No, I've been sober for 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
Good for you, man. It's
a big part of my life, man.
Time.
Sobriety is a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it.
Good to hear. So you moved from New Mexico. You come here 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're drinking. We meet, and then I noticed that you were doing some music stuff then, and then you really moved into the scene because you had been in the scene for a while before I had ever really started poking my head into it and like doing more than I was. Like I was kind of like reclusive with it and stuff for a while, but I moved into it and I saw you were doing like big shows. You were like at some of the bigger venues here in Tucson, and you went on tours and you've done all kinds of stuff. So can you kind of talk about how you went from where we were at that apartment to where I saw you in the music
Absolutely.
scene? Yeah.
So from the time I moved here, from the time I moved here, I was working a normal 9-to-5 job. And It wasn't fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started my own company, my first company, which had to do with like finances and all this other stuff. And basically I started that company. And while I was doing that, I was also just going to hip hop shows, meeting as many people as I could. I knew of a group called the Driving Scientists because I did a lot when I was in college in Albuquerque, and Driving was already touring and stuff, so they would stop in Albuquerque and play at one of the clubs that I frequented. And so all my homies there were doing all the big shows and all the stuff there, so I was able to connect with them. So I started hanging out with like Fen and Runt quite a bit, and they kind of helped like inject me into the scene. You know, I started hanging with them, making beats, producing, and just kind of hanging, learning a ton from them musically.
Yeah.
And then from there, like, I'm very much a go-getter, man. I'm very much like, you know, if you tell me I can't do something, I'll do it a million times better than I ever thought I would. So I was like going out and doing everything. So I was already rapping, and I couldn't find anybody to make beats for me, so I taught myself Ableton. I couldn't get the videos I wanted, so I bought a camera and learned how to use Final Cut and Photoshop. I couldn't find the DJ that I wanted, so I taught myself how to DJ. Everything kind of came out of rap.
Yeah.
So once in a nutshell, that's kind of what happened, and I started kind of making a name for myself and just reinvesting my money into shows and started doing stuff like that. And then a rapper named Murs came along and he caught wind of me and what I was doing, and so I actually started DJing for him and touring with him, and I just kind of boosted me to a national scale. So once I got with him, I was doing, I was in really cool meetings at Warner and like working with Strange Music, and him and I started a label, and I'm signing artists around the United States, and yeah, it's kind of, I started, tour managing. I started doing some marketing for some of the stuff that he was doing, working with just really important people and really people that had already done a lot in the industry. So, so it was cool, man. So I kind of did that, and everything just kind of started falling into place. Once I'm the type of guy that once things start opening up a little bit, I'll just keep like pushing and taking more and getting more out of every opportunity that comes my way. And so I was able to make some really good connections and able to make a living off of all of this. I mean, I haven't had a real job in a long time. Yeah. And so that's kind of in a nutshell what happened. Cash was the first artist that I signed. We were in the backyard of one of my buddy's house, and he was the first guy, and then everything kind of started working from there, and started working records for him and working for the other guys and just kind of doing my thing. And, it was advantageous, I think, for everyone that I'm not a rapper or like I don't do stuff like that. So I was literally just, the business guy behind everything and pushing all my guys on these tours. And, at one point I had like five guys on tour. You know what I mean? All of my guys were out on the road, trying to score placements and all the things that we were doing. But yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, really that meeting with Murs and signing and starting the label really just made a ton of connections for me and was able to help me provide for my family and do the things that I wanted to do.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So shows, I mean, the golden parties were a big,
I went to a few of those. Yeah. Oh, those were awesome.
Those were a big
Those are the thing to go to.
Yeah.
So
those were a big part of everything. I think for me is, my vision with it was always that like this needs to be bigger than just Tucson. So I was always trying to build relationships with artists everywhere. Yeah. And it was very advantageous for me. It really, really was. When we would go on tour with bigger acts, I would spend all my time meeting openers because I knew that with my guys, we weren't going to necessarily be able to, like, promoters don't care about like openers. So like even when you're on tour with like Tech or like doing something really cool, like they just don't, okay, cool. Yeah. You're with them, whatever, you have your credentials. But I knew that the openers knew the promoters and all of that stuff, and they're the guys that are vying. So we built relationships with openers in cities all around the world, literally the world, and so that's what was able to get my guys back on the road and do 6 dates in the East Coast, 7 dates in the Pacific Northwest, or whatever we want to do. Is just all these relationships that I had built with these openers from collabs. And then having the Golden Party was a big tool for me, because I could say, okay, well, we're doing Golden Parties in Albuquerque, we're doing them in Denver, we're doing them in Tucson, we're doing them in Phoenix. I can put you on a 5-date tour. Just book us 5 dates in your area. And so I'd pay for their lodging, and I had a fat hookup with hotels. So like I'd put them in a nice, 4-star hotel for a very affordable rate.
Damn.
And it was sweet. It was cool, man.
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was cool to watch.
A lot of good stuff like came out of that. And I think, honestly, artists are still eating off of the relationships that I helped forge with a lot of that stuff. And so it was good, man. It was good. But like I said, I think Golden Parties played a big part of that. And just the talent of these guys was able to combine with some of these guys and get features for these guys, and just doing the things that we want to do. But being able to trade stuff was just very essential. I mean, offering a hotel and a little bit of money in the pocket was like great. And I was glad I was able to do that for guys, what I mean, and continue to help them.
Well, you provided opportunities for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know you talked about the stuff you accomplished, but you're helping them accomplish a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things you highlighted in kind of talking about your progress through all of it was the fact that you really went out there and did a lot of the engagement and the talking and making the connections. Like nothing was handed to you. Right. Like nobody can listen to this or see you and go, oh yeah, he just ended up there. Like it just he just got lucky. Right. No, this dude did not get lucky. This dude was moving. He was shaking. He was going everywhere and taking care of business. And it's good to be able to get that out there for the listeners to hear that you got to do that stuff. Yeah. Nothing. It just doesn't show up on your doorstep. Sure. You know what I mean? You talk about, where you started, all the connections you've made, and you did all this music stuff. And unfortunately, we had something happen that just recently, right, with COVID. And that changed the course of a lot of stuff. So
that's just how, like, I am with, like, everything, Recently, someone was like, you just don't. There's a couple of things that stand in my head when I think about that. One was that, like, my resilience is, like, unreal. First off, like, I've been through fucking everything. Like, I've been to jail. I've been through crazy shit. I've been an alcoholic. I've been through a bunch of shit in my life. Just shit on shit. So, like, for me, it's like, what the like, I'm not fucking scared of, like, anything that's going to happen. What am I supposed to be like, so for me, I was just telling my buddy the other day, like, death is the ultimate sense of security. Why? Because we're all going to die. Like, there's nothing anyone can say to me that'd be like, well, you might think you're better or feel you're better, but we're all going to die one day. And for that reason, you're not better or worse than me. And I can tell you, ask you, or try and work with anything that I want. Like, we're equal. For me, like, it just builds a sense of security for me. But also understanding that, like, I know how to make money. I know how to build a business. I know how to develop a business. Like, I'm fearless. Like, and that's the only way you can succeed, especially in the music industry. Like, that is the one field that if you are not fearless, you will stay by the wayside. You will stay. You'll stay forever. You'll continue to do local shows and be the nice guy in your area forever. Yeah. There's a reason that someone has to be the asshole. You know what I mean? Yeah. In the music industry. And it's so unfortunate. And it's very toxic, man. It's very tough. Like, that's the side of it. It's like, yeah. All that stuff is true. But, like, man, like, it's toxic. It sucks to always be that, to always having to, like, enforce those things, to always, like, have to be that guy.
I can't imagine the amount of entitlement you came across.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's more...
or the idea of people thinking they're so much bigger than they
are. That's it. I mean, I guess it is entitlement. I think it's... yeah, I mean, everybody just felt like they're just better. They're, I guess lack of humility. I guess that's entitlement, right? I mean, I don't know.
I think we can put them close together in the same category.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it.
But it's you almost have to have that though, right? I mean, because it's like, it's the constant situation of, like, whose dick is bigger all the time, all the fucking time. Yeah. And it's just like, dude, like, I don't care, dude. Like, I don't care about any of this. I don't want to play the game. I don't want to, like, it. I don't know. But yeah, it was constant. It's just such a macho, like, tough guy environment. everyone's fucking hood.
Yeah. I had a hard time fitting in, bro. I'm really you know I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think but
still had a lot of fun though.
The difference though is that it's okay to not fit in when you're yourself. It's different when you're trying to be that, to pretend to be that facade and be that person.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're not that. And you never tried to be that. You just stayed true to who you were.
Yeah.
That's completely different. I mean, you see people that are making a living and doing better than I think some people that like fake it and try and do that. I mean, we see guys that are more nerdy touring and doing things all over the world from our city, you know, and that are doing a great job. And you know, some of the guys that are tough guys are still here doing the same things, which is fine. But, you know, yeah, no. So, I mean, the music industry can be a little toxic, man.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I kind of moved away from it a little bit in terms of leadership. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So, we kind of have the same kind of companies that are doing a lot of the same things, which is totally fine. Because let's be real, there's so much work to be done.
Yeah.
There's so many people to help.
Sure.
Like it's daily for us. They're just coming in like, I need help.
Yeah.
And that's what we're really doing is we're helping businesses succeed and other leaders get to where they want to go. You know, once COVID hit, right? Like the resiliency thing you talked about.
Sure.
You had to be resilient. You had to get through it. Every single business around here had to. Like in this complex, I've talked about it on past shows. 5 businesses in this complex went out of business when that happened. And some of them came in here like, I need help. And they didn't make it, right? They, for whatever reason, they had too much overhead and stuff like that, right? But you made some adjustments. I watched. There's a lot of stuff we were doing here. And I don't know about our timing on stuff like that, but a lot of the key things you learned doing music, right? Like you talked about, you wanted to do videos. You're like, so I got a camera and I started doing Final Cut. And then I started doing Photoshop and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we moved to this thing that you're doing now. A lot of those pieces of the promotion and all that marketing stuff you learn there is so important today.
Right.
And I want you to talk about your company. What are you doing now?
Yeah. So, absolutely. So the translation, it translates really well, man. So like I said, so for me, when I got into music, you know, either I couldn't afford to hire the right people to do the stuff for me, or I didn't like what I could afford. And so my brother, he went to engineering school. I come from a very musical family, and he taught me how to do quite a few things. So he taught me like Final Cut, and he worked with Pro Tools, and so he taught me like quite a bit about just understanding how to think in that way, right? Because it's quite a bit different, like setting like your anchor points and like all the different ways of. That's just a different way of thinking, like engineering, like visually or audio or whatever. It's just different, right? So he taught me quite a bit, and I think the natural progression for me was just to get into marketing, considering like I had managed artists for so long, and all I did every day was think about ways that we could be different, right? And creative ways that we could present our information in a way that would be unique to everyone that was going on. Yeah. And we did a great job. I mean, we're the only ones that have been on the cover of like all the publications here in town. Like my guys like killed it, you know what I mean? And a lot of that was us brainstorming these ideas back and forth and trying to figure out a way just to be unique in what we were presenting. We knew the music was there, but we just, so working with them and trying to figure out unique ways, working with MERS on Pay Dues and Rock the Bells and these big festivals and looking at marketing tactics and stuff like that. I really never thought about going into marketing until like, I think people started coming to me before I realized that it could be a lane for me, right? So people are being like, hey, I see what you did for this artist and this artist. Can you do it for me? Yeah. And I'm like, well, I can tell you what to do. I don't have the time to do it for you, but we can talk about it. And then as it kept going, I had a buddy that was like, she said like, you should like definitely be coaching or like taking this to a higher level, because I already had a few accounts. So I already had like Illegal Pete's. I had several Hooters in the region that I was just doing like social media management for. Yeah. Not like brand development or anything like that. So it's kind of an interesting story. When pandemic hit, to be completely transparent, I kind of just like checked out, and I had some panic, you know? I had worked the last 10 years to be like a world-renowned, world-traveling DJ. I mean, I'm DJing at penthouses in Paris, and I'm DJing in Budapest. Like, I'm like DJing around the world and doing some of the coolest shit I've ever done. I'm in Paris for Fashion Week, DJing really cool shit with like Lil Yachty there, and like just amazing things. And it's done. It's all I ever wanted to be. When I was a kid, I was just talking to my partner about this the other day. I was like, babe, like when I was a kid, she's like, what were the two things you wanted to do when you got older? And I said, be a photographer and be a DJ. That was it. Those are the two things, and I'm both of those things. But yeah, so I didn't know what I was gonna do, man. Like I knew that this was there, and my friend had talked to me a little bit about it, and she had said, you know, you should do this, and so I left Arizona. I took my kids, and we went down to back to my hometown in New Mexico. There's like a river that runs through my hometown. There's a big 4th of July celebration. There's just a bunch of cool stuff that goes on there. It's very like stuck in time. It's very slow.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's a good escape.
Honestly, so I went back home, man, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was playing the stock market. I've been investing for years, and so I was just watching the stock market, watching my Bitcoin and like spending money and trying to be strategic about it. I had a bunch of cash at home, and I just bought a bunch of Bitcoin with it, and I was just watching it. I knew that I had all that in there, so I bought a bunch early. So
Good for you, man.
I was like, cool. Like Murs made a song in 2014 called Bitcoin Beezy, and he told me, dude, if you can do it. And I maxed out my credit cards at the time and bought 3 of them. And so good call. But so I went back home and I just like chilled. I'd wake up in the morning, go meditate, hop out on the dock and just like canoe, or just really like didn't even think. I don't even know, man. I really just like regrounded, and I'm pretty like grounded for the most part. Mm-hmm. Like I meditate every morning. Like I'm active. I'm conscious. Like I'm just very into that stuff. But like this was like, now everything around me had slowed down, because for me, I wake up in my morning, I do my thing at 5, 4, whatever, and then it's, you know, go with my day. This was like a whole like 2 weeks of like, you know,
it's an awesome
chilling,
reset.
Man. Yeah. So I just sat and I kind of reset. I talked to my buddy about it, and I'm a big believer of like, the universe is constantly trying to put you in the best position for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So I just kind of let go, stop trying to like figure it out, and just let kind of it figure it out for me. And so I started getting pulled in directions, and I didn't turn down the things that were presenting themselves. And mm-hmm. At first I started picking up like, actually, no, I'll tell you what happened. EG's called me and said, hey, we're doing a virtual happy hour, and we would love for you to come DJ for mm-hmm. us. So we started doing, like, every couple weeks, we started doing these virtual happy hours. So for me, because first off, I knew I didn't want to go back to clubs. I didn't want to stay up late. I didn't want to be up till 3 a.m. I didn't want to be around drunk people. I didn't want to be in that environment. But for me, it was like, I knew it was paying the bills. Like, it was doing really well, and I still love music, but just the environment and all that stuff, like, I couldn't go to my kids. Like, I was going to my kids' games in the morning, but I was dead tired. Like, it was just not ideal for mm-hmm. my lifestyle. And so I got a call from Phoenix, and they're like, hey, come up and DJ. I'm sorry. I got a call from Phoenix, but EG's called me and said, let's do the virtual happy hour. So I was like, okay, cool. So during that time, I'm like busting them in the face with ideas. I'm like, hey, what do you guys think about doing this? Hey, what do you guys think about doing this? Or what if you tweak this a little bit? Or what about like getting local designers to design local graphic designers to design a t-shirt? We release limited t-shirts. What do you think about doing this? And like during that whole time, they're like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. And they're like, well, we're thinking about starting an intern program. And they're like, would you be up for interning? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So like they kept like pushing it back and everything. And I'm like, dude, I'm a 30-year-old intern. I don't care. Like whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, so I went in there, and for like a week, I like interned, and they're like, yeah, we want to give you a position. So literally, it went from me DJing and then just creating a good relationship with their, what's his title? Customer engagement manager, which is basically, he's like the marketing president. And him and I, we just kept talking, and he was like, dude, like, we want to bring you on board, like literally a week or 2 weeks into it.
Yeah.
So I became the content curator for them. So I help with like every content that goes out. Like I brainstorm and help develop the ideas and like do all that stuff with them. Mm-hmm. Once I got that account, I knew like, all right,
so, I can do this.
Yeah, everything started like at a high level, you know, like I was already doing it, I think at a lower level, but once I got that, I was able to get that. I just like, once you, I know it sounds crazy, but like once you have like that title, and once you have that reputation with like, I mean, I don't know if it gets much bigger in Tucson as far as local
that's an
stuff.
embedded establishment here. I mean, EG's is, I mean, that's, that's the go-to.
Sure.
You know?
So once that happened, I was able to like that was kind of my like token, you know?
Nice.
So I was able to kind of present that, okay, well, this is one of my clients, like, oh my God, wait, really? And I'm like, yeah. And so that kind of opened the door for me to get into everywhere, because now it's like places that we're going to shoot for, they're asking about it, and I can say, yeah, you know, this is what we do. This is me. This is my company on the side, blah, blah, blah. And places just ate it up. And so it just took off from there.
It's awesome.
Like just took off, really. So now we have a bunch of accounts, and yeah, it's been really cool.
Yeah.
But that's another one of those situations where it's just like, I just had to go get it. I knew it was there. You know what I mean? Like I knew, as soon as it opened up, I'm like, okay, this is it. Like this is my way out of this. Like I don't have to deal with like shitty club owners that like, because the pressure, the thing about club DJ, if you don't understand, is like the pressure. You got so much pressure to keep the dance floor busy and it's like they put it on you, right? So it's like every night, if you see 10 people leave, you're like, damn, there goes my job out of the thing.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? And so it's just so much pressure. I mean, but think about it like this. These places are making like $30,000 a night. You know what I mean? $30,000-$40,000 nights on one night.
Yeah.
These are $100,000, $200,000 weeks. And literally they'll let you go from one day to the next because 1 week is off. And it's just like, I just didn't want to be around that anymore. And so I was lucky. Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. But anyways, yeah, so that was kind of where I went with everything, man. And I already had been taking pictures and doing all that stuff as just a hobby. Mm-hmm. Like just started getting into it. And then I realized how much more money I could make by taking pictures of food and not people.
Products are
and products. And so I literally do people shoots for so much cheaper because the product shots just pay so much. Like I literally, it's just like passion projects almost to shoot people, you know, because they're hard to work with, man. Yeah. Shooting people is like, it's tough. It's so tough. And not because you do a bad job, but because people like don't like so many things about themselves.
You gotta like, I can totally relate to you. Like you gotta like talk their confidence up. Like you gotta
absolutely.
like you spent, like I remember I was like, I'm worried about my smile. I'm like, here's the deal, dude. I'm gonna just tell you jokes. Yeah. And I'm gonna keep spitting them at you until you laugh. Yeah. I'm just gonna get it.
But then the tough thing is like, then they don't like their smile. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, can you? I had this girl tell me the other day. Hopefully she listens. She's really sweet. I shouldn't say that. That's an edit point. I had this girl tell me the other day. She's like, hey, I don't really need too much editing. If you can just make sure the wrinkles in my head are smooth, the wrinkles on my mouth are smoothed out. If you can make sure my teeth are white, and then if my waist it looks a little boxy, can you pull my waist in also? Oh, and my tan, and make sure I look tan. I was just like, all right. Like, how are you going to tell me that you don't need that many edits? That's like, you want me to change you.
I was going to ask you, did you get your notebook out, bro?
You want me to change? Like, you want me to change what you look like?
Yeah.
It made me laugh. Aww. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, fries don't talk to me like that.
No.
They just know what they're supposed to look like.
They're already cooked and ready to go.
Yeah, I'll have to pull fries wasted.
You don't got it.
Yeah. And fries pay me much better. So it's nice.
EG's fries.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah, anyone's fries.
Yeah, I love EG's fries though.
They're good, man.
Do you eat EG's fries? Yeah, dip them in the ranch, the buffalo ranch.
Yeah.
I love them.
What about you, man? How did you? I like to know about you because your story,
I'm
everything
reclusive,
to me
dude.
is so interesting to me, bro.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's so awesome at the same time. It's tiring though, bro. So yeah,
Because you basically have lived a DJ lifestyle by not being a DJ, like staying up all night,
Yeah.
like.
yeah.
But what you knew this is what you wanted to do, or you kind of had the same type of thing, right? Like.
Well, I like so
'Cause
right
you're
out of
making
high school.
music.
Right out of high school. So right out of high school, I knew I wanted to get into business, but I didn't know what kind of business at the time. Right, I was just like this young kid, just like, oh yeah, I want to run a business and be able to provide enough money for people to work for me and just build something cool, right? Because like nobody in my family has ever done anything like that I'm doing right now, and I wanted to be the first in our family to do it.
Okay. Like as far as like being an entrepreneur,
like my grandfather had a garage and stuff that he owned and partner and stuff, but he had a lot of difficulties and troubles with it. But I wanted to be like start something young that would continue a legacy for our family, like not just be like this, oh, it happened and it burned out. Like I wanted to build something big. And then music happened. My cousin bought me, I don't even remember what software. It's like Acid Pro or something back in the day, or he got me some kind of like software. And like this, we're talking about like 07. So like the computer and stuff I had at the time, like it was as good as I could get it, I guess. And that's kind of where music started. So I got into music, got into rapping, you know what I mean? Started building my own beats. I had the same problem, like running into trying to find people to build beats and make stuff. So I started doing it on my own, teaching myself how to do that stuff. And then just kept chipping away at it for years and years. And I kind of faded off because I got super into college studies, and I ended up going to Missouri to play football because I got a scholarship for football, which I hated, dude. Hated playing college football.
Okay. Why?
Yeah, dude, you're like treated. You're just a number.
Okay.
And it got to the point where like I literally felt like I was working at a construction company. Like you get up in the morning, you go and you work like the fun camaraderie you had like in high school and the other sports, like you're basically, you have to perform at such a high level, just like you're talking about the DJ thing. I guess they're very different, but if you're not performing, like even if it's just a practice, you're already questionable. Like, I don't know about that guy. Maybe we just put him down on the roster this week, and you might not ever get back on the roster. Like you might just suck and sit there and no one cares. You're just, who's 84? That's the number I had. Who's 84? So went there, came back, continued going to school, got into criminal justice stuff. My father was in criminal justice, so I was like, what's a safe route right now? Because I started running out of money. Broke.
Did you save money up?
I had my parents helped me with some of the college money. The scholarship that I got like was 75% kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like they paid for meals and my room and board and some of my tuition, but it was an NAIA school, so I didn't get like a full nice badass thing like a Division I thing. So I came back here and I still had to pay for classes. Ended up taking a school loan out. It was a horrible idea. But that's all I could do at the time. I mean, between trying to work and go to school full time is like really hard.
It's so weird that like financial advisors for college don't tell you any of that.
No,
it's so weird because it's a business.
When I was like in school, they were like priming me to go get loans.
Right, and that's what they do.
They were like teaching, and like
there's got to be some sort of incentivizing or like that goes on with that, because like literally it ruins like your future.
Yeah, it set me back, and
absolutely.
It took a good move in real estate to fix that, but we talk about that on we talk about financial stuff all the time, like that. You heard Dave Ramsey and kind of like his thoughts. Like I don't agree with everything he says, but there's a lot of good morsels in there that he talks about, and like they didn't teach us that kind of stuff back then. So
I don't think
they taught me to get in debt. Early.
Yeah.
Go get out. Oh, this is how you're gonna pay for your car payment. Blah blah blah. Like it wasn't like, hey, go buy a car cash. Save up money, go buy a car cash.
Right.
Save up, go buy cash. Like they didn't teach us that. So, anyways, I went off on a tangent on that, but
no, I had brought it up because I just felt like it's crazy how
it is.
Like how just like there's literally, but there's no warning. There's no like like when you go to get a loan for college, it's super easy. No one at 18 should have access to like a $30,000 loan, a $50,000 loan.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. And it like ruins everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really, really sets you back if you don't take care of that. I mean, because the way that they adjust those things and like,
yeah, that was
it's
another
like crazy.
thing. Like I remember 1 month, like I was like, oh, my interest rate's not too bad. It was like 2 point something. I'm like, okay, this isn't good. And then I get a bill 1 month and it's like 6. And I'm like,
yeah.
Do you guys just like wake up and go, hey, you know what? Here's 6%.
And then you're trying to like, when you're trying to buy a house and all that, like they, even if you're on like a sliding scale, they still take like the 10% and like, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a disaster.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I was like, I need to get a job. So I started looking into criminal justice stuff. I'm like, well, police work and stuff, corrections looks interesting. It looks like something I'd be interested in because my pops was doing corrections.
Okay.
And he just retired last year from it. Like he did a full 20. Don't know how he did it, but so yeah, I started studying. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can understand that. And my ultimate goal was to go to the streets as a police officer. Like, hey, why not? Let me give it a shot, help people. I remember I was going to Pima at the time, and people from Fort Worth, Texas were coming to our classes trying to recruit us to go to Fort Worth to work.
To be a cop?
Police officer.
Police officer?
I don't know. I thought it was the strangest thing, but right away I was like, something's wrong if you're coming here to Tucson, Arizona to get people to go work in Fort Worth. Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
Why do you think they were?
I think they're having problems with staffing, which is just it's just a normal thing that happens, right? Like, it's constant. Because, like, the way people see police, it's like a pendulum, right? When something really bad happens and people start getting saved and everything, it's like, all right, they're good, they're heroes, right? And then when something really bad happens, you end up on the other end of the spectrum. And it's dark.
Sure.
It's dark and lonely. It's like, it's bad. So like when that kind of stuff happens, staffing and stuff, that becomes issues for police departments, because how do you go and recruit people to work for something when so many people are like, yeah, we don't really believe in what you do? It's kind of hard to get people to go. So I think they were kind of like in that little stage over there. Maybe they're having issues with like local issues.
Are people even applying to be police officers at this point?
Surprisingly, yeah.
Okay.
You know, there's still a lot of police departments in the country that have like a really positive culture and take care of things, because they're not all the same. You know, the community policing is different everywhere. It's kind of how they handle things and how they engage the community. Some police departments don't engage the community at all. Yeah. Right? Some do. Some spend a lot of time hanging out with the community, doing events together with businesses and taking care of people. So kind of just depends of area stuff. So when that happened, I'm like, man, they must be having problems like in their area. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I looked into it, but I was like, ultimately I didn't decide to do it. I had nothing stopping me, but there just was a bad feeling about it. So I was like, So yeah, I kept going to school. Got enough credits for, I have a liberal arts.
Cool.
Yeah. So I can do a lot with that. Right. So yeah, I ended up going to corrections and then doing law enforcement stuff. But
how long were you a corrections officer?
4 years.
I heard it's the worst.
You know what?
I heard I have a few buddies that have done it, and they just like, I don't know what you can or can't say, but from their perspective, it was they've been pretty miserable in that job. You know,
it's hard to be the light when you're surrounded by like ultimate negativity. Exactly. Like you literally have grown ass men that can't leave, that are treated like they're like a school or a daycare. Mm-hmm. And they have to ask you for stuff. Yeah, that's what he says. Can I? That's all day. Can I? Right? So, yeah, I get why they would say that. You know, there were things to do there that you could make your career better. Like you just had to go and get it. You had to go for those positions. Yeah, but eventually you got to like become almost one of them, right? I mean, so like, it's very hard to like remove yourself from an environment. Like there's a reason. It's like if you hang out in Texas for like 10 years, you're going to develop a little bit of an accent. You know what I mean? Some twang. Yeah. Because like, but you know, so it's like you've been working at the corrections for like 20 years. Like teachers are the same way, right? Like, yeah, it's like you're around these kids all the time. Like eventually you come home and you're just a teacher at home. Like, how does it not? You can't. How do you not take your work home?
with that.
I had to train myself. You have to train yourself. I had this rule is like do my 8 and leave it at the gate. That's what I called it. It's
but still like you know what I mean? Like, okay, fun, but also like, damn, bro, like you have to. I don't know.
It's hard.
Man.
It's hard. Like the people that probably work there, like they're gonna tell you the same thing. It's hard. You have. You literally have to work at it every day.
The grouchiest guys I've ever met.
That sucks. Life shouldn't be like that.
No,
it sucks.
But people don't understand that there's ways out of all of that shit.
And
you know what I mean?
That's so like my escape from a lot of that stuff was music.
Yeah.
So I started doing music in the background like all the time, and I would stay up hours. There was nights where I would only sleep like 4 hours because I was so into projects that I was working on.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm so sad. I want to get this finished. Well, I'm doing that in the background. I'm still working full time, and then I still ended up making that transition to the streets.
Okay.
Which was not easy here. Like to get a job here, like at that time, I remember like I applied to like the local sheriff's department. There was 1,000 people in the testing room I was in trying to get 20 positions. And I'm like, this is hard. I'm like, the first time I took a test, it took me 4 tries to get hired somewhere. And that was with college experience and keeping my nose clean. Like I kept my nose clean. I didn't get in any trouble, didn't get arrested, nothing. So it was hard. And then I finally made it. Been doing that for 7 years. I love it. Like I'll tell you right now, I love it. I mean, yeah, you got bad days. There's some days where you're like, man, I would never wish this upon my worst enemy. Yeah. You just go through some gnarly stuff. But there are days where you literally change the course of somebody's life. Yeah. Like they will never be the same because of something you either did or you pulled them away from. You saved them from something, like cutting somebody out of a car that's upside down leaking fuel that's about to blow up.
Yeah.
That they might not have made it if you weren't there.
Sure.
So there's always those moments that I try to focus on that more than everything else and everything else that's going on, like on social media and stuff. But
that's a disaster, man.
Yeah.
It's a disaster. I've texted you about it before. Like,
yeah, you've called and checked in on me, dude. And
it's just you can't group everyone in like that. You're taking the human element out of things, and it's just ridiculous. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's all part of the divide and conquer.
Sure. Absolutely.
Philosophies.
I know what side I stand on, and I know how I feel about things, but it's not my job to make anyone else believe that.
Yeah.
And it's my job to stand by what I believe, and it's my job to make sure my children are safe and they understand how to operate in any environment, whether it's with police officers, whether it's in the hood.
Yeah.
There's still rules, kind of the same fucking rules, in all honesty. And I was telling my homie about this the other day. Bro, you realize like how like Republican the hood is though, right? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, bro, like y'all talk shit about like, I don't want to get into specific, but I'll say like a lot of the beliefs are the same, like very Christian, very traditional beliefs, like very like both sides are like the same thing. So it just like trips me out when like you operate by these codes and you do these things, but don't have the same respect in these other environments. Like, but it's both very similar. Like it's very similar beliefs, very similar like belief systems, like very similar traditions between the far right and like the hood.
So for me with politics, dude, like there's no right or left for me.
Yeah.
It's either up or down. We're either going to go down as a team or we're going to go up as a team.
Sure.
And it's on us to ignore all the noise.
Yeah.
And figure that stuff out for ourselves because I feel like a lot of people have forgotten who really is in control.
Sure.
And who should be in control, and that's us, the people.
Sure.
Right? That's why this whole experiment of this country is the way it is. That's why we've made it this long. And we're forgetting that. Yeah. So for me, like when I see people arguing left and right, like I'm just like, you can focus that energy on so much other stuff. Yeah. If you're going to sit and argue and blame stuff for people, go volunteer. You ever I'll ask them, like, you ever volunteered and helped somebody? Mm-hmm. Like there is so much other stuff going on for people who are so much more or less fortunate than you are. They're struggling to just live and supply food for themselves or their kids. Go focus on that.
Yeah.
Put your energy. You really want to change the world?
Absolutely.
Go volunteer, dude. Like,
but people would rather sit down and listen to the advice of someone on Instagram than they would about making a change.
Yeah.
It's one of the arguments I have with some of my buddies all the time. It's just like, bro, like the same thing. Like, just go out and make a difference. Yeah. Stand behind the things that you want. If you want to see change, be that change.
And it's really not that hard.
No.
You can start with just opening a door for somebody.
Sure. Yeah.
Or asking somebody you don't know, hey, how are you doing today?
Yeah. Sure.
Shoot, that person, I don't even know them. That they care how's my day going? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But
So I mean, I say that though because it just, you know, people have these beliefs and I think, you know, it's tough to because they see people in a certain light. It's tough to understand the human element of those things. As a police officer, as a brown man in America, it stands on both sides of these things, right? I mean, both people look at it the same ways, and people for some reason think that it's a little bit different when you're on my side of things, but they tend to be just as hard as the other way around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's always opportunities to learn. Like,
absolutely,
I would tell my friends and stuff. I would try to get as many people as I knew that they had questions or anything. Go on a ride along.
Yeah,
come jump in the car for 10 hours with me and see what it's really like. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's nothing like you see on social media.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that happens that no one hears about.
Right.
Because it doesn't sell. And it doesn't help program propaganda. Business. Like it don't do that. So there's always opportunities to learn. There's always ways to help people and focus your energy somewhere else. But you know what? We can't change everybody.
It's not our job.
Nope.
Either.
All we can do is help people like we are and just do what we can to change the world.
Sure.
So anyways, back on what I was saying. Still, doing the police work, doing the music thing, to get like into shows and do shows and make them happen. I had to learn how to promote and all that stuff, right? So I got heavy into social media, like really, like right when Facebook started, I was already up on it doing things. Okay. So, and I started I had a MySpace. Did you have one of those?
Of course. Absolutely.
I had a MySpace. So Facebook comes, right, and MySpace is gone.
Have you went back and logged into it at all?
No, I deleted it completely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I
think I still have mine.
Dude,
I'm gonna
have to look it up now. I have to look it up.
This is funny.
Yeah,
it's a disaster.
Oh, yeah, good old days. But yeah, so I started using these social media platforms, and more would develop and come, and we would, myself and my friends, we'd get into them, and just I didn't realize it, but I was teaching myself at that time. Like I was learning and. I was like, this is really cool. So I started using those as tools for promotion, and then stuff started really going well. Like we were booking events here at this venue that's here in the back space. I was starting to help like local businesses here kind of promote events and stuff, just simple things at that time. I knew how to do a lot more, but I actually spent a lot of time trying to get people to buy into those tools, because a lot of people were still real set on just, I'm going to send direct mail, or I'm going to do an ad on Yellow Pages or whatever, right? So I had to still really get people to buy into that. And then the pandemic happened, and a couple years ago, my wife had bought me a Canon, and I was already shooting photos. I even went to some of your guys' golden parties, and I would go and shoot photos, like just to practice. I'm like, and I would send them to the artist. I would send them in DMs, but they didn't know it was me. I had a Instagram profile with no profile picture like of my face or anything, and it was just a photography, just Amfo AZ was it, and I would just send them for free. I would just send them pictures, and people would be like,
best way to do it, man.
Dope, dude.
Best way to get started.
Yeah, so I just kept doing that. I still practicing.
Do all kinds of shit for free.
Yeah, pro bono stuff. It leads to huge things.
Yeah,
like, I know there's accounts coming for us that just because we had relationships, and
I did
some free stuff.
I did a free shoot for this woman in Phoenix probably a couple months ago, and she ended up purchasing the licensing for the photo, so it hits a billboard I think this weekend. And it was a free shoot. I just did a free shoot for her, and then she purchased the licensing rights to it, and then I just did a shoot for her last week, and it was for her book cover. That was a fully paid one. So like all
amazing.
It all came back.
And the greatest thing is it keeps giving, right? It keeps all your stuff just keeps advertising for you. Like, who did that shoot?
Yeah, for sure.
Javier did it.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. I got to get with that person.
Yeah.
So yeah. The pandemic hits, man. It crushes a lot of stuff. I kept telling my wife when it happened, because we were in Sedona at the time, right when stuff just started popping off. Like we were literally up there in March, like mid-March. And my wife, bless her heart, she's like freaking out kind of. We're on vacation. She's like, what are we going to do? We need to buy food. So I'm like, all right, we'll go buy some pasta and stuff to take with us home on the road in case stuff gets really real, right?
Sure.
So we go to like the grocery store up there, and people are, even in Sedona, just scavengers, dude, in the store. Just there was no rice. There was nothing. Like, people were in a full-on panic, even in Sedona at the grocery stores. Grabbing everything, like the tissue paper and everything was just flying off the shelves. Got home, calmed down. We had good supplies. We were fine, right? We didn't have to worry about anything. Fortunately, I'm blessed. But I told the wife, I'm like, yo. So I'm a believer in God and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I think God's just put the reset button on all of us. Just said, you guys are getting out of control. Here's a little humbling experience for you.
Sure.
Slow down. Because I was sitting and reflecting like you were, and I had plenty of time to just think about ways to get through it and fix things. And even with myself, there was a lot to fix with myself. Right?
Like what?
Just getting more organized and more routine and really focusing. Do I really want to make this stuff happen, or am I just talking shit? Like, am I real about what I'm going to want to do, or am I just screwing around? Even with the music, like at some point people look at you and go, bro, you're in you're 30 years old and you're writing rap music.
Yeah.
Like, are you delusional? Like, are you still going to keep doing what you're trying to do? So
I think it's one thing also to do that as your passion thing. Yeah. It's another thing when you're still trying to fit in.
They didn't see that.
Right. Well, I think, again, I think if you're honest with yourself about those situations, you know, like, all right, I'm going to keep doing this, but I have no expectations. I'm just doing this because I like creating versus like, I'm still trying to like there's just different ways to go about it. But yeah.
So that self-reflection really gave me a chance to go, you know what? I'm not doing this stuff as much as I should be.
Gotcha.
I need to make a change.
Yeah.
And that was everything. That was like my relationship with my wife.
Yeah.
My family.
I agree.
It really just,
same.
It made you think about all that stuff you take for granted, like daily.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got a lot closer with God in that time frame because I had a lot of questions at that time when I was doing self-reflection. I'm like, man, like, what else is there? I need, is there some more? Can I find, like, I'm reading leadership books. I'm reading books all the time to increase my knowledge and leadership and other things just because I want to grow. But I was like, is there like this? Is like a spiritual element of stuff that I can get into that might even help me even more? So I went for that.
What was there?
Yeah.
What was it?
I got a lot closer to God, man. I guess
I'm asking you, like, what does that mean?
Like, for me, when you were talking about the stuff, like you were talking about like how the universe was, things were kind of lining up.
I think we're probably talking about the same thing.
Yeah, you were like, things were lining up and stuff like that, right? Like, it made me realize there's something. I'm not in control. Like, I can think that I am. I can make a lot of step towards where I want to go, but ultimately I have to remember to treat people right and to do good things and give. Big thing was learning to give more to get more. Like, if I'm not giving and like helping people, like, why would God bless me with anything? Like, why would I expect or hope that something good was going to happen if I would just go around treating people different, like in a different way, like shitty?
That's almost like a transfer of energy. The same thing of being like working in corrections and like being around that environment constantly, right? Yeah. And it's just like so hard to like,
Plus, like,
persevere that, like, do that, yeah.
I always knew I wanted a kid too. Well, I didn't always want a kid, but my wife helped me with that. But I didn't want my kid to grow up without that feeling that I found.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have, like, I always knew there was something, but I couldn't, like, I had gone to some churches and tried to see if I felt something, or like, see, people will say, oh, did you find this is the true church of yours? Like, church for people is different, dude. Like, you can be at the gym and that could be your church. Like, that could be it's sanctuary, your home can be your sanctuary. But I'm like, specifying like a trueness to stuff, like, you can go to multiple churches and still really feel the spirit. You know what I mean? You don't need to go like, I only go here because it's just this set rules and but But yeah, thankfully I felt that experience, got closer, and I've put that a lot of that into my new vision after I got through that reset. And that's where I developed this company, was Live the Dream Media. And the reason it was named Live the Dream was I want everybody to have the opportunities that I've had and to get to grow. I want to help them grow. I want them to grow alongside of us. Like, so I was like, this concept, this idea, the way we're going to run things, I want all that embedded into the business development. And that's kind of where we're at. And we're doing great, dude.
Yeah.
And I tell people, like, when they come here, like, I'm going to say no to people.
Yeah. It's
because not only like our brand and stuff, but if you're a person that is doing like business and stuff and this is my opinion, but if you're doing stuff in the community and you're just treating people bad, dude, like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
I'm not afraid to say no. Like, yeah. I don't care how much money you bring to me. I'm going to tell you no. I don't want a part of that. Like, I have a spiritual connection, and I'm doing things to make sure that I'm right with God, and I'm not going to do anything to screw that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the music and photography and all that stuff all lined up with everything, social media, and we said, let's do this. And I started training the people around me that wanted to be involved, and here we are.
Yeah. I think that's an important quality of leadership, is like finding spaces, finding jobs for people that want to be a part of your vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because once you're able to do that, like, you know, people, the hardest part for me with employees is finding people that believe in it.
Yeah. And it's hard, dude. Like, I don't know about, there was one time, man, I literally had somebody just going off saying like the most effed up stuff, just roasting me in front of people because I basically said that this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if you had any experiences like that where you were like, I tried to be as cool as I could. And
I
then
think you know a little bit about me. I think you know that I've probably been yelled at a time or two in my day, online, in person, and everything in between.
But that, you know,
that's okay.
That situation was different because that person was already here for the studio that got dissolved. That was back here. Yeah, that was a little different. That was not somebody I recruited.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. That was not somebody that I was like, that person's talented. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I want to clear the air on that one. It's like it wasn't like I brought this fox in the hen house, dude. Like, it was, that was already just an interior problem.
But when all this happened though too, you also converted your space into more functionality, right? I mean,
yeah. We wanted to provide a space. So like there's a bakery that is back here that's owned by Clint, who's the business partner on the company, and his wife, and she owns it, and she makes phenomenal treats, cinnamon rolls, cookies, and all that stuff. Well, their front end space isn't the biggest, so people kind of just out of caution don't want to be, 6 feet rule and all that stuff. They don't want to be around each other. So some things happened with some other companies that were here that got involved, and we actually made this whole venue space a bigger area to do fulfillment.
Yeah,
like
cool.
It was a good way to make sure that you could do the curbside, all that stuff. And if somebody wanted to walk in and come and grab their stuff, more power to them. There's plenty of space, no worries. But it became the concept was to have this huge space for a bunch of fulfillment for different entities. And we had a couple different entities at one time. And all those entities that were involved with that all got through by that move.
Cool.
So, yeah, and now we're still using the fulfillment area just because people enjoy coming in and they love seeing the venue space.
It's a product of like, I don't argue with what the universe tells me.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a product of just being able to operate, like just being able to answer your call. Right. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's like that's it. That's the type of thing, it's like not saying, understanding like when opportunity is presenting itself.
Yeah.
You
got to be good at recognizing that.
Yeah.
That itself, that takes some learning and some training itself, because you have to know when to go for it.
Yeah.
Because people get presented with opportunity. I tell people every day, like, I have some friends that bitch and moan about, and I had them growing up, that bitch and moan about where they were at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no one else is going to do anything for you.
Right.
Like, I love you and I care about you, but I can't do anything for you. Like, that person over there can't do anything for you. You have to go do it for yourself.
Yeah, but the understanding of what that means, though, is the issue. You know what I mean? Like, people, we've been hearing that all of our lives, right? Like, a big part of my life is the term, like, be present, live in the moment, right? And when I talk to people a lot with doing the coaching and stuff that I do, they're always like, yeah, I do that. I try and just embrace, embrace this or embrace that. I'm like, yeah, but, like, it's a whole different theory of, like, being present with, like, really understanding how to be present with, like, breaking everything out and, like, staying present, not planning for the future. Planning is one thing, but, like, not worrying about the future, not worrying about your past, not worrying about what this is, not worrying about what that is, and just living with what's presented in front of you and making the best out of what's presented in front of you. You can't worry about that. You can't worry about this.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I feel like people do that with, like, that. It's like the same thing with, like, you have to change that. But it's like people don't even, they're intimidated by just the thought of, like, changing.
That's true.
Those things.
Change does scare people, man. Like it's so much easier. We're creatures of comfort. Just naturally, you know, for the most part. Like, we all do it every day. We have certain comforts that we just we flow through, you know. Like, you start your morning, so you have a routine, right? Like, so yeah, I get it. Yeah. So, and that's what I can see. A lot of, like, entrepreneurs are scared because you got to jump.
You do,
you know, like y'all be hearing from me here in the future about I'm going to be making a big jump.
Yeah.
Right. Like, most, like, 1/3 of my life has been me working in a certain field. Yeah. And I'm going to jump from it. Yeah. So it is scary. Can't deny that. There's nights where I didn't sleep. Yeah. Because I'm like, I got a kid, I got a wife, and you got to get, you know, when you're married, we've had so many talks about like, how are we, like, David, what are you doing? Like, how are you going to do this? Show me the numbers. Like, let's go. But you make it work, and you be transparent with it. You got to be with your partner or whoever you're with, significant other. And
there's always a way, man. I've always had, like, so many different things going on that, like, I've always had multiple streams of income. So I know that, like, all right, if it doesn't work out here, then that. But I've always had, like, at least a little bit of something coming in from somewhere, somehow, some way. Yeah,
for sure.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't. I mean,
even music streams. I know it's, you know, sometimes they're good months, sometimes they're bad. But dude, when you have a couple bucks flying in every once in a while, it's like, oh, okay, like, buy a shirt.
You know what? I never checked that stuff. I should be.
You should. You probably got a good grip in there, man. You just, like, I'll go months without checking it, and then I'll go in there and be like,
I mean, I get a percentage too of so many artists and stuff. Last time I took it out, I just, like, put it right in the stock market.
That's even better. That's what I told the wife. I'm like, hey, from here on out, can I just, like, start taking that and just investing it?
That's it.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
God, sweet. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, enough about me, man. Okay, I turned into the interviewee or getting interviewed.
No, it's good. It's good to hear, man.
But no, thanks for asking me that, because people really haven't, you know, I don't think a lot of people really know what I'm about and all that stuff. And I think it's probably the first episode. I did do one where Clint, the other owner, asked me stuff, but it was kind of like, it was a real watered down version of stuff. Like, I was like, yeah, I played football and I did music and here I am. Like, I don't know. I think I wasn't as comfortable at that time. Like, this was like my first couple podcasts. Okay. And now at this point, it's like, let's just get everything we got, you know? So sure. Thanks for that. But we're gonna move forward in this podcast for you. And what's your advice to listeners pursuing your type of venture?
Just be fearless, man. That's really everything. Yeah. Just don't worry. I don't know. I don't, like, give a fuck, like, about too much, you know? Like, I just, like, I'm down, man. Like, let's do it. Like, I'm not, you know, when I was in college, man, one of my buddies was, like, he was older than me. He's like 5 years older than me, and we lived together, me and a bunch of my buddies, and he was like, dude, if you love what you do, just do it. The money is going to come. And it's, like, so simple, but it's stuck with me forever. And I really just, like, have lived by that. Mm-hmm. And it's been completely true, like, for me. Like, I just don't have any fear. And maybe it's because I've set myself up, like, financially and, like, other areas. So, like, I can take the risk of, like, taking 2 months off, going home, and just having, like, the little streams of income coming, or But I think it's just like, just fucking do it. Like, we're all going to die.
Do it.
I said,
jump.
Yeah. But I mean, that has to be it, man. Like, just be fearless, take those chances and persevere. Like, it's going to feel so much better when you're successful because you were so scared of those things. But yeah, I think it's just, be fearless, man. Go get it.
So yeah, just be fearless. Just do it. Just don't ignore anything this man's saying. I'm telling you, he's a product of doing it. Like, he's living what he's saying. And, it's incredible what you've been able to do, and the resiliency and the adjustments you made. And
thanks.
That's why, like, you're, one of my, I would say you're, a mentor in my life. Cool. Like, I talk about, on some of the other podcasts about like mentorships and stuff. You can have mentors all over the place. Like, you don't realize it. Like, I've told her, I'm like, I've learned stuff from you because she's got such fundamental like knowledge of sound and everything.
Absolutely.
Like, I've learned from her. I've watched her do things. I'm like, I do that now. So
I've
definitely learned a lot from you.
Cool.
And that's why we've kept in touch. Even we've had conversations when, stuff happened. So, and we've kept up to date with things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your company, what is it called?
510 South.
Okay. How do they connect with you?
You can find me at 510 South on Instagram.
Okay.
That's an easy way.
Yeah. Go find them. Go check them out. Like we said, we know we're in the same business, but like, we are very aware that there's plenty of opportunities around every corner to help somebody. And that's what we're in the business of doing. Do you have any common myths about where you're at right now, business wise, that you might want to debunk?
No, I don't know.
One that gets brought up almost, at least probably in some way on almost every podcast with a business owner is the idea that overnight it happens.
Oh my God, no. Yeah. I don't even, do you ever clock in? You ever pay attention to how many hours you work? No. So I had a friend, this woman rapper that I was touring with, tell me, if you really think that she's like, everyone always says like, you know how much I fucking work, you know how much I work, blah, blah, blah. She's like, clock in, get an app, clock in and see how much you work like in a week.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. I clocked in, I think I had 92 hours
in a week.
I think. Yeah.
You guys hear that? 92 hours.
Something insane.
Standard issue is 40 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So
I have, bro, I don't literally stop working. Like, I'm up at 4. I go play basketball for a couple of hours. I get home, make sure everyone's good. Well, depending on the day, sometimes I'll stay and play basketball longer than I definitely should. But yeah, take care of my day, and then I start my day, and I'm working from 8 to 10. From 10 to 10, like Sunday to Sunday. Like, I'm editing and like designing.
Yeah.
Meetings. I have 4 employees. There's no other me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And my company is built on my ideas. My company is built on me with cool strategy and developing and unique ideas and all the content that we create. Mm-hmm. So like, there can't be another me.
Yeah.
I have account managers and I have assistants and I have people that help out, but like, there's no other me. So I have to add my touch to those things. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, God, there's no way to come. It takes so long to just like even feel comfortable like wrapping your head around the idea of success.
Oh yeah.
I have some of the clients that I coach. I've got them to success, and then they've kind of shut down because people don't understand how hard it is to continue to maintain success. Mm-hmm. People don't understand how hard it is to, you want success until you get it, and then you got it, and the pressure becomes 1,000 times harder than that thing, and people are scared of success. I have clients that I have to help them get over the idea of success.
Every win you get, a new challenge is right behind it.
Absolutely. Yeah. But no, man, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's definitely something that I think people don't understand. But when you get there, it's just like, oh my God, like, I'm so proud of you. But they're just like, why are you still doing this? Or what do you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I'm pretty resilient, man.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, bro.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I think, it definitely takes fucking years even just to get to a point where you can sustain a business.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
The stuff we talked about was like a decade plus, dude.
Yeah.
Of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
what do you think? What do you think is the common misconception?
that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And then thinking that it's easy once you're doing things, right? Like once you have like accounts and stuff and things are flowing, thinking that it's easy. It gets harder in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have more money to work with and that's cool and all, but you have to be able to innovate and continue to grow your business and your ideas.
That money has to be spent, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing is, like, when you're successful and you're pulling in more money, there's definitely a reason that you're pulling in more money, and that's going to grow, and you need to spend that money on growth, or you're not going to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you just kind of try to pack it in a bunch of shoe boxes in a room and think, you're at some point you're either going to run out of room to put that money, and you're kind of just like at a stalemate. Or someone next to you is going to pass you, and you're going to disappear.
Yeah. If you start making real money, you need a higher place.
Yep. Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure. So, but yeah, no, you got any? So, one of the things I have on here that I want to cover before we jet out. Dude, we've been at this for like an hour and 10 minutes or so.
That's good, man. My podcasts are like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's good.
I get deep, man.
Yeah, usually they run like 50 something minutes, but you are compared to a lot of the business owners I've had on here, you have a lot more time in involvement with stuff you've been doing. Sure. So that makes sense why we're so far into. I'm not complaining. I'm just like, I feel like it's been 10 minutes. I looked at my watch. I'm like, holy cow, dude.
Yeah,
it's been so fun. So dad jokes. You got any dad jokes?
God,
you got anything off the top, dude? I
off the top, I think one of my favorites is like tip. So like at a table, I'm like really bad with like stay out of dark alleys. Like tip, like, oh, stay out of dark alleys. Like when it's time to like write my tip down, or like if I'm paying for something and they're like, your total is 1978, and I'm like, the year that I was born. Nah, I'm just kidding. How much do I owe you?
Nike Monarchs just pop up.
Yeah. Exactly, man. I'm like the corniest dude ever.
That's awesome. I'm cheesy, dude. I tell people all the time, I'm cheesy. I'm on like a dad joke Facebook group.
Okay.
That's how cheesy I am.
I like that.
And then my brother bought me some shoes, bought me the New Balance version of the Monarchs. I haven't put them on yet, though. I'm like, bro, you think I'm really going to?
Nice.
So, but maybe when I'm older, maybe in the 40s.
No, I think people don't understand that side of me a lot, man.
Yeah.
I think I wear that face so much because of the industries that I've worked in.
Yeah.
Like the jokey side of me is not something that many people see, and I think people sometimes don't even know how to like. But like literally, all I do is like crack. I'm like a really funny to myself man. I'm always like joking around, but like
you were serious most times I saw you, bro.
I am. Like, I have to work. Like I have to.
I always saw you working though, so that's
exactly. But like really, like in real life, like. I'm just like a laid back like dad, I just like
it's so chill.
Walks around in my underwear all the time when it don't need to be, and like
it's my house, bro.
That's it, man. That's it. You know what I mean? Like I literally
it's my
just
castle,
like,
dog.
I think that's the thing about me is that like people have this understanding so much of me being this like dialed in like dude, and I am, but like also like I don't even give a fuck about anything, man. Like we can make it work. Like I'm so chill, but I know that like But even like in this new field, like I'm way more relaxed in this new field.
Ditto.
You know what I mean? Like
Ditto.
I'm just like, it's so much nicer. Stress is so, I don't have to worry about getting in fights. Like,
yeah, I can't wait for that.
You were on double fights. You're doing rap shows and you were a police officer.
Yeah.
You're double fights.
Yeah. That's why when stuff would start getting weird, I'm like, man, I'm out, bro. See you later. Like, so, but yeah. But I got one dad joke I heard the other day, and it was actually I read it. I won't say I heard it because someone didn't tell me it, but it was like, why don't people ever throw out whiteboards?
Why?
Because they're remarkable.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my dad joke. She's like, oh god.
Wait, let me tell you some of the ones that my kids are really into knock knock jokes.
Uh-huh.
So they don't understand the concept fully that like it's a, continuation of a play on words, like orange, you glad I didn't say apple or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be like, my son, it'll be like, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Banana toots.
Banana toots.
Or like, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ear.
Ear who?
Eyeballs.
Just throw them in the mouth. Like, cool.
What are you talking about, bro? I love it. Yeah.
Do they know the interrupting cow one yet?
Mm-mm.
I try not to teach them that one because they'll be getting you.
No, don't teach it to me.
Knock, knock. Who's
No.
there? You don't want to hear it?
I don't want to hear
My
it.
wife would do it to me. Like it took a while to just get it. Don't even.
You watch The Office?
Oh, I love The Office.
So every time we do that, I think of when Jim and Dwight did it, and he says knock knock, and he's like, "Who's there?" And he's like, "The KGB," and he's like, "The KGB who?" And then like Jim slaps Dwight, and he's like, "The KG will answer to nobody." I always think about that every time my son and my daughter like
That's
want
the
to do
best
knock
play
knock
on it.
jokes. I'm like, I should just do that to my daughter one time when she says knock knock and just smack her.
Yeah, that's the best play on it for sure.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Got some more seasons lined up, and we'll probably have you on here again.
Let's keep talking.
Or
man.
if you ever need me on something,
Yeah.
just holler.
So my podcasts are like cheating, man. Like I do like 3 episode seasons.
Hey, it's content, man. Who cares?
That's it. So like, but they're like 2 hours a piece.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There. If you added up my hours into the season, then the amount of episodes would probably be pretty close.
That's not how people receive content. So
Yeah.
it's a bad job on my part, but
It's
I just
okay.
do it for fun.
It's okay. Some people. Hey, there's been long ones, man. I'll mark where I'm at, dude. I'll screenshot it or write it or do whatever I need to do. I'm like, hey, I know where I'm at. If my app gets, I always end up closing my damn app, dude, all the time. But yeah, I've done that, man. Rogan's podcasts are long sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I've been in some that were like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But
On tour,
especially
man.
with, like,
On
Chappelle
tour,
and
that's
all
like
that.
that's like the best thing, man.
Yeah, I
Like
bet.
super long. That's what got me into like super long things. Is that like I just
Yeah.
fucking being on the road driving for 9, 10, 12. Dude, sometimes we do some crazy drives. One time, me and Marley, we had a show with Tech in Kansas City. We performed, got some Taco Bell, left at 7 p.m.
Okay.
It was a 12-hour drive, I think.
Oh,
And it wasn't like an uncommon thing for us to do like the overnight drives. Like I would drive until I got tired. Marley would take over, and then he would
what
drive.
were you guys in?
My Prius. I had a Prius at the time.
You guys are all stacked in a Prius doing.
It was
12?
just him and I.
Oh,
It was just him and I. But we drive to the bus or like whatever in the van or we follow along. But anyways, so we left and we hit a blizzard. And it was on these little side roads, like in like driving through the Midwest down to Arizona. So like every time a truck or something would pass by us, it would blow snow all over the side of the car so we couldn't see. So we literally drove 20 miles an hour for like 6 hours, 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours probably. And there was nothing open. This is like in the middle of nowhere.
that's scary.
It was so scary, bro. And I drove the whole time. I mean, I was like white knuckled, like just like so scared. We were so scared. It took us 24 hours to get home.
Oh, survival.
24 hours, bro. God,
Oh,
it's the worst.
you need to write a book about all that stuff, man.
I'm working on it. I'm working on
cool
a book,
story.
man.
Well, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
it. It was great time. If you're listening and you want to be on the podcast, we do have open calls for it. You can email us at contact@ltdmedia.net. You can reach us out on social media if you need to. Check out our Instagram and our Facebook. We look forward to having more guests. And again, thank you, Javier, for being here. We appreciate it, and hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, peace.
Hi, this is Tammy with Copper Creek Cookies. We've been baking smiles for over 15 years. We can print anything on our individually wrapped logo cookies. What a great way to market your business on our sweet, awesome treats. For more info, check out coppercreekcookies.net.